I wanted to share this quick 10-second clip with you guys. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and that was to watch the Mario movie with my son for Christmas. This is his first movie he's ever watched. He's watched TV shows like Arthur and stuff like that, but he's never watched like a full movie. And so, yeah, I want to share this clip just to show you guys his reaction real quick. And if I have to clip it out because of copyright claims, then I apologize. That's unfortunate, but so if it skips ahead, then that's what happens. So check this out real quick.
Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong!
So as you can see, he's just super excited, saying Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong. He's a toddler learning how to talk. He's waiting for me to say Donkey Kong and acknowledge it. I wasn't doing that because I was trying to capture the video, send it to the group chat. You know what I mean? And so, that was the first time he's seen Donkey Kong like ever. Well, I shouldn't say ever, but like on the screen because he's familiar with the Donkey Kong character. We have Mario children books, and he has Mario clothes, and he has a Mario toy. You can also see him pointing in the back. It's kind of hard to see, but he has a Donkey Kong plushie. And so he's pointing to Donkey Kong. He's like, "There's Donkey Kong." I knew Donkey Kong was coming up on this scene. I was trying to capture it because his reaction to Toad was actually way better. I wasn't expecting it. He was, Toad, Toad's there. So he's young. He's not old enough to use a controller or actually play a video game. But he's so familiar with these characters because of the children books, because of the toys. Some of his Christmas gifts, the multi-pack, everything. Oh, he got like some Hot Wheel multi-pack, a Hot Wheel multi-pack, a Hot Wheel or Monster Truck multi-pack. We got a Hot Wheel Mario Kart multi-pack and a Mario action figure multi-pack. We wanted to give him some of that Mario stuff because we knew we were going to show him the movie. We took him to Dave and Buster's this week, Christmas week, because he really likes Dave and Buster's. That's always kind of been a place that they have this like game where you can play till you win a rubber ducky. He really likes the rubber ducky toys. And then me and my wife, we like playing the claw machine, and we're decent. We can usually walk away with a prize. So we're always like, we can get him a ball from there. So he's like, Dave and Buster's, that's a place where we get ducks and balls. 2 times ago, we thought he was old enough that he can kind of like sit on our laps and play some of the arcade games. He really likes cars, so there's a lot of driving games. But what else is at Dave and Buster's? There's a Mario Kart game. And so like he's like, that's where we go play Mario. Like he had his mind was blown at the Mario Kart game, and his mind's gonna be very blown when he learns that like we can play Mario Kart here at home, and it's not just a Dave and Buster's thing. But for now, it's just a Dave and Buster's thing. Keep it special. And so what I'm trying to get with this is he already like there's all these like avenues and aspects where he can just fall in love with these characters, and the movie like without a doubt is like the biggest one. Like that was just like definitely blew his mind, probably changed his brain chemistry for better or worse. And that's awesome. And I think about like with me and my generation growing up with like N64, and you could probably say the same thing of people who grew up with the Super Nintendo, the GameCube, DS, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, you name it. I wasn't even exposed to Mario at the age he's at. I was probably twice his age, and all I had was like Mario 64, and later all I had was Ocarina of Time, just these tiny experiences, and like that was it. Yet, those experiences were so powerful that I basically became a Nintendo fan for life, and I feel like so many other people are in that same situation. And you put these movies in the mix, and the movies are like so much more powerful. I mean, again, even if you think about movies like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, like all these like classics like Toy Story, these are movies that like we still love like as we get older, and that nostalgia hits really hard. And so I have to imagine that the nostalgia was something like the Mario movie at this young age is going to be very, very powerful. Like, I really wanted to show him this movie around Christmas time because Mario Galaxy movie is coming out in March. And I think he's at that age where it's like, yeah, I think he can be old enough to go in the theaters. But I want to make sure I know how he's going to respond. And I want to be one of those people who brings a crying baby to the theater. Pretty much all I know is he's probably going to be screaming Bowser Jr., Bowser Jr., because he really likes Bowser Jr. Because in one of the children books that have all the characters, I told him like Bowser Jr., he's Bowser's son, so I'm like Bowser, you're like Bowser Jr. And that really stuck with him, so he really likes Bowser Jr. But so you see that with the Mario movie, and you could say the same thing about like the Sonic movies. The Sonic movies are doing awesome too, and probably has the same kind of connection with the kids too. Uh, Minecraft movie, and that's not something I'm gonna show my son because I can't relate to the Minecraft movie. It seems a bit like brain rot to me. If he gets older and wants to watch Minecraft movie, then on his own, then sure. But you saw the clips online when the Minecraft movie was out that like the kids loved it. The kids loved the Minecraft movie. But what's the one thing that Mario, Sonic, and Minecraft movie all have in common? You can play all those games on Nintendo Switch. And, as we move forward, Nintendo Switch is going to be the cheapest console. It's probably going to go up in price to $500 in the year 2026. But Xbox is gloating that they're going to have the most powerful console. That thing's going to be probably like, over $1,000. PlayStation 6 is going to be over $1,000. So as a parent and you want to like buy a video game console for your kids, what's the most obvious choice? It's going to be the Nintendo, even though if it's overpriced. And maybe you go use and buy a cheaper one. That would be smart, buy an old Switch one. But, as the kids grow up and watch these movies, especially when Nintendo, as they have already stated, that they're going to try to have a cadence of one movie per year. So we're going to have the Mario Galaxy movie this year. Next year's going to be Zelda movie. After that's going to be Donkey Kong movie. And, before I'm just like, I don't know about the Donkey Kong movie. Probably not like going to be as excited about that character, but in that clip, if it hasn't been clipped out, look how excited my son is on just the Donkey Kong character. So a few years away, like he's gonna love that movie, and just something again for parents in cinemas, like something fun, eventful to do for the kids. Bring them to the movies. The Nintendo movies are gonna be no brainer. The Sonic movies are gonna be no brainers to be like, oh yeah, let's go to the movies, and that would be a fun thing to do. And so, yeah, I think about like the PlayStation and their IP, and they've tried to break into like the movie scene and all that, and their TV shows with The Last of Us and Twisted Metal and the Uncharted movie, the Gran Turismo movie. But I try to think of the audience of those movies, and I feel like that's either going to be people who are already fans of the IP, like myself. I want to watch The Last of Us show because like I like The Last of Us. But something like Until Dawn, who's going to see Until Dawn in the theaters? People who are fans of Until Dawn, maybe just people who are fans of movies who aren't ever going to play video games, or just in the same category. It's going to be like, I've wanted to play Until Dawn, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't really feel like playing with it. Let's just watch the movie. I got the gist of it. Maybe someone who likes movies and games but hasn't played Uncharted yet, they might see the Uncharted movie and like, yeah, they're good. Like that's good. That was a cool movie. It was fun, but like they're probably not going to go play the games. I don't know with Sony's TV and movie offering how many are going to watch a movie for the first time and then be converted to a PlayStation gamer, want to buy a PlayStation, drop $500 to $1,000 on a PlayStation, buy these expensive games and experience them. The movie's probably good enough for them. Unlike, with Nintendo, with their movies, their target audience are like the young kids, and they're gonna grow up and want to play Nintendo games. And then, even if it's like a Sonic movie, which is unrelated to Nintendo, or the Minecraft movie, the kids watch these movies, they want to play the games. What's the cheapest way for people, parents to buy these consoles for their kids? It's going to be the Nintendo platform. And so I think, you see stuff like, the wood block amiibo, which is just like, what, Nintendo, what are you doing? Well, they're targeting that audience. And you could see that PlayStation tried a little bit to target for that audience. Why do you think the Lego Horizon game exists and the Lego Horizon play sets, or the Lego sets? They're trying to take their IP and target to a younger audience, but Sony's IP that they're currently running isn't very good with that. Like Lego Horizon seems like the most random thing. And I guess they're cool Lego sets, but maybe for me, but like, I don't think like, my son's gonna be able to relate to that anytime soon. Sure, like I'll play the Lego Horizon game eventually when he's like way older, but I don't know how much he's gonna care once he sees like how different the actual Horizon game is. And I'm sure over time, again, these kids are then gonna become teenagers, just like how we did, where it's like you outgrow Nintendo for a bit, move on to like, at the time it was Xbox 360 was the really cool thing. Xbox 360, PS3. Now I think that's all been replaced by like gaming PC. So I'm sure like, these kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to play Nintendo anymore. I want to play the gaming PC. That's got Discord on it. if like hardware is even affordable by then with like this AI boom, who knows? It's probably going to be like game streaming by then. That's a video for another time for sure. But then then they outgrow that and you get nostalgic. And yeah, I still play PS5, I still play Xbox, I still love that stuff. But like my nostalgia and everything, I can appreciate Nintendo in a way that like these other like I don't know. You look online, you see these like teenage or young 20 like fanboys or whatever that are console warring it up. And I believe in the console wars, but some of those people who are like completely like dissing other consoles for like I don't know, even spreading misinformation is absolutely ridiculous behavior. I think, like, yeah, Nintendo, the Switch 2 is probably like the worst place to play some of these third party ports. Yeah, I definitely want to try out the Final Fantasy VII remake on Switch 2 because I believe that like the Switch 2 is going to have one of the best gaming libraries of all time when you just look at titles at face value. But yeah, that game's going to be locked at 30 frames per second. That's how I played it on the PS4 and I love that experience. But now like ever since like 2020 and I got the OLED TV like completely ruined my life when it comes to frame rates. I know with Rebirth I couldn't play 30 frames per second. I had to switch it to 60. So I'm very interested to see if like, can I play through it on Switch 2, or am I going to quit and be like, I'm wasting my time. I want to play it on PS5. But like kids or something, they're not going to care about 30 to 60 frames per second. So there's this whole generation of kids where the Switch 2 has like all the games in a perfectly acceptable playable format. I grew up on N64 that has wonky controls. You take someone who grew up on like modern gaming and you try to let them play N64, they're not going to understand the controller. Everything's going to seem clunky with the cameras and stuff. They're going to say it didn't age well. But at the same time, I go back and play N64 and I love it. And the slow frame rates, like the wackiness of it, is all part of the experience for me. And I think like even back in like when I grew up in the GameCube and PS2 generation, PS2 was the most popular of the three consoles. The games probably played better on Xbox, but there weren't YouTubers and social media telling you it's like, oh, the PS2 version has worse resolution and worse frame rate and like kind of like making you think a certain way before you even play the game. So like again, like Switch 2 and like yeah, it's underpowered now for us, but for the kids who don't know any better, they haven't even experienced a 60 frame per second game. The 30 frame per second on the Switch 2 is going to be just fine. And so, yeah, I think like that's as they get older and they already have the Switch 2. But when they get even older and they can get, a brand new console release when the Switch 3 comes out, maybe they're 8, 9, or 10 years old. At that point, we're having the diminishing returns per console generation. PlayStation 6 is out there going to try to compete against the Switch and having like a hybrid system. That's what Xbox is doing. But Switch has already perfected the hybrid system. So when you get to Switch 3, all it's going to do is be like, all right, well, instead of like 4K 30 or whatever, 1080 P30, whatever Switch 2 is running on some of these bigger games, their jump is obvious. It's just going to continue to meet the, PlayStation and all that and Xbox. And just like it has that room for growth in terms of the console jump, and then maybe they can just put out patches so the Final Fantasy VII remake can just run at 60 frames per second on the next Switch. It's a shame that I can't do it now, but in terms of like that generation, it should be fine for them. And then just other things to keep ingraining. It's like we're probably gonna eventually go on your stereotypical like Disney World trip and Universal Orlando, Florida, but they have the Nintendo theme park with the Donkey Kong section, and look how excited he is about Donkey Kong. So he's probably gonna love all of that. What's Sony gonna do? Make a Last of Us world? Like that sounds depressing as heck. Like they can't do that. The thing is, Sony has the IP that they could have done it. Like at one point they had Spyro and Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation. They let that slip. Like Astrobot's pretty cool, but I don't think you can do as much. What are they doing? Astrobot movie and Astrobot theme park? Like I don't think it has that weight. And plus, with the sales of it and the way like PlayStation, everything needs to be 100 million copy seller. Who knows if they're even going to make another Astrobot? And in Astrobot, they had the Ape Escape level. Cool, but where's the new Ape Escape game? They have the IP. I was at Target the other day, and there was like in like the video game like collectible section, there was one off-brand Funko Pop, like a U2s or whatever the heck that was, of Ratchet and Clank. It's like, okay, What is my son gonna just want that? Where's all the Ratchet and Clank? Ratchet and Clank was a great PS5 game, one of my favorite PS5 games. But yeah, I don't even remember when that came out. 2020, 2021. It's been a while. Where's the new Ratchet and Clank game? Probably not coming because Insomniac's been doing like full hands on deck on Spider-Man most likely and Wolverine, which is a real shame. So it's like Sony has the IP to kind of compete with that with the younger generation, and like they're like trying to like just like shoehorn like Horizon to do that with the Lego game, but it's like I don't know. Their audience is definitely that more mature, I guess, or like the teenager, young adult, and it goes beyond that too. But I feel like just like the expanded growing audience, it's just so much easier for Nintendo to target the younger kids with their IP. And that's where I think it's like, for us older generation who are nostalgic for Nintendo stuff still and can appreciate it for what it is, we had way less than what's available for the kids now who are letting that get completely ingrained. And again, like even Xbox, maybe they have some of the IP too, and they did a good job with the Minecraft movie. But if they're gloating this like super expensive Xbox, if a kid wants to play, sees Microsoft's Minecraft movie and they want to play Minecraft, they don't need a $1,500 Xbox, a $1,500 gaming PC. Get the $500 Nintendo Switch too, which is still very expensive, by the way, especially like compared to consoles back in the day. But comparatively, it's going to be the cheapest on the market. And so long term, yeah, I just think that modern gaming, it's like eventually Nintendo is going to come out on top. Like they have the long term play on lockdown. Sony is still going to be trying to compete on the hybrid stuff, and same with Xbox. But Nintendo has the perfected hybrid console, and they have the IP all set up to target that younger audience. I mean, look at like Pokemon. Pokemon is still like one of the biggest IPs of all time. And when that came out, I feel like the anime was one of the very key reasons why it got so ingrained to it. I mean, you could love Pokemon with the games and the cards, but they had the anime. And that's kind of how like first party gaming is right now moving forward. Like Nintendo has the movies. They're going to be having the movies. Sonic, great movies with the Sonic, but you want to play the Sonic games, you can play them on Nintendo. You can play them anywhere, but when it comes to like the kids and how much a parent wants to spend on them for a console that like, yeah, like the Nintendo's going to be the cheapest one. And so that's kind of why I think that Nintendo's going to just absolutely dominate modern gaming in the future, because like they have just the cheapest price point, and yeah, things are not the highest specs they could be on the Switch 2 right now, but long-term play, I think like their audience is there already that are kind of like dedicated or they can put up with it, and just long-term play, I think it's just like it makes sense that that's what you get for the kids. Let them build up their digital and physical library on that, and it's going to port over to the Switch 3, where just over time, each iteration of this is going to get better and better, where you look at the PlayStation, the Xbox, the jumps aren't that crazy. And like, they're so not crazy. These games can still play on the Switch 2, albeit like worse versions of the game. But for a lot of people, it can be perfectly acceptable. And so, yeah, I don't know. I like the stock for moving forward. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think that do you see that future for Nintendo and the growing fan base of it, or do you think like PlayStation still can grow their fan base, or would you like to see some of those other IP more frequently, like Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Dexter, Sly Cooper? I know they don't own Spyro and Crash anymore, but Xbox does. They could be making new Spyro and Crash content. But yeah, I know PlayStation is in the business of movies and TV, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about their target audience? Do you think that's really growing their gaming sector, or are they just kind of repurposing their IP and kind of just finding new audiences elsewhere? Where I kind of think Nintendo's doing that too, but I think the conversion rate for Nintendo like movie audience growing a new fan will actually result in a new hardware and software customer in the future. And so I think they're going to dominate the future of modern gaming. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and see you in the next video. Later.